clean it. Motherfucker, we just keep losing feed today, don't we? I'm back. Yeah, sorry guys. Tonight the internet does not seem to be on our side. So well, yeah, I will. Let me, you know what, like while I'm, before I even start figuring any of that out, let me wipe down the affected surfaces here. So there's alcohol out of here. Yeah, that piece looks like it's some kind of, like, goes around a knob or something like that, is what it feels like. So this thing over. Just go around. While I'm here, I may as well. I think that that piece goes around this main knob. I'm not sure though. I'm not too sure though. While I have this thing out, I'm just gonna wipe down where the knobs are and stuff. Like the places you can't really reach while you're cleaning it normally. And these are just basic little alcohol pads you buy in the pharmacy type shit. I find these to be effective for cleaning sensitive stuff. Quick drying, that kind of thing. Okay, let's get some gunk off of there. Good. Alright, this thing has a ridge on it. So most likely whatever it sits over has a ridge as well. And I'm guessing this is how you change your button colors and, you know, like put thicker pads on. I've heard guys doing updates to make thicker pads for these things. I don't know what the effect may be, but our YouTube took a shit. That's great. Yeah, took an unshit now. Yeah, I think since a lot of people are home for this whole situation, I think the internet is just a little bit overloaded. I understand. All right, now find out where the affected area here is. Yeah, right there. I see kind of little soda smudges. So, right, just now the task of cleaning. I want to prep and clean everything before I actually get to the meat and potatoes of the repair, so that when time comes to put it together, everything that it touches is already clean. So that would be my reasoning, if it makes any sense. I've always been like a prep guy. I like to, before I assemble or disassemble anything, I always like to make sure I have all my tools ready, you know, no surprises. If there are surprises, I want to know what they are, so they become not surprises, or at least I'll be ready to have some kind of countermeasure. So, but aside the point, this needs to be cleaned regardless, because this is where the spill actually occurred, and from this is where they went into the sensors, the pad sensors. I'm not sure what they call them exactly. But I'm still racking my brain as to where that little square goes. Shit is like getting me physically angry as I do this, because right now that's my only uncertainty. Everything else so far that is happening here is for certain. But that thing, I don't know where the fuck that goes. Once I lifted the board, the thing just kind of fell out. So, always remember, if you're disassembling shit, make sure you know where stuff goes that you disassemble, so that you don't run into the bullshit I'm running into. Alright, so now there are pilot holes, like there's little holes where that line up where the keys should go into. Matter of fact, I'm gonna wipe down the bottom of this thing real quick, and just while I'm in here. These alcohol prep pads are pretty cool. They're good to have around the house regardless. But for stuff like this, totally worth it. Okay. Now I'm only really cleaning the affected area here. So let's see where these pilot holes go. So there's one there and one there. Right. That makes sense. So kind of lay them in there. And this is where having it a little bit raised helps you out. Because you're going to want to sink them. Make sure they're all the way sunk. See, and get those pilot holes in. Getting all kinds of messages here. Okay. Make sure those pilot holes are in, like those little alignment holes. Make sure they're in nicely before you continue. Make sure all the pads are in nicely as well, obviously. Because you don't want them like lopsided like these are. Just kind of work them in there. In fact, coming up from the bottom, kind of guiding the pads in seems to be an effective way to do that. Okay, looks like we're all in there. All right, now I'm still like desperately trying to figure out where this black piece comes from. It's the only thing that it fits over is this little knob right here, but I'm not sure. I don't think so. Well, we're going to have to figure that shit out, kind of, as we go. Have no choice. Now, take off this little pad sensor. Remember, shiny side up when you're putting it back. Okay. You see all that guck there? I'll show it to you again. I think this is what's causing our contact, or lack of contact for that matter. Yeah, because it's all sticky and shit. Those three keys are the ones that are really the affected ones. You can visibly see that they're the ones kind of affected by this. Alright, so now we kind of attempt to clean this garbage off of there. Best not to rub too hard because I don't know to what extent do want to try to get this cake, anything that's kind of sticky or whatever. Try to get that off of there. Hopefully, once we get through with this, see how sticky that right there is. So that's the stuff that's actually on these contacts. Probably causing them to be ineffective. Pad going here. Now again, guys, I do not claim that this is going to fix this because I don't know. But I'm hoping that it does. So at the end of this, if it works out, then you will know what to do in case you ever spill stuff. Now, the MK3, I am not sure if the design of the internals is the same. I think it's a little bit more, a little busier in there, let's call it, due to the color screens and all that kind of stuff. I see now that, you know, a lot of this sticky shit is definitely leaving the building, which is good. Because I wanted to try to do it on this thing before I touch the main board. But it looks like so far so good. Is able to get this off without any dramatic damage. Okay, good. More gruesome. Okay. Try to make sure not to let it catch any hair or anything like that, because my assumption is it's pretty sensitive. Ha 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 ha. That's where you belong. Exactly. This is where this thing belongs. Okay. This little square. Fucking hell, I'm so happy right now. This little square goes over the actual USB connection. And there's a little slot right there. And that's where it grabs the silicone board and it kind of sits there. That's why it fell out the second that I took the board out. Now I feel a lot better. Alright, so now here, I'm also just trying to see where the connections are. Yeah, there's two there. There's a whole side there. I might actually install these screens. Before but we'll see. Right now, let's get to the meat and potatoes, which is the actual, my belief, the damage. So here, I'll even show it to you. See that crud on there? And I feel that it's sticky. Right there. Yeah, that's sticky shit. See, this one was still working. This one was partially working. So it looks like this one got a little bit affected, but these two took the brunt of the hit. You know what? I'm going to move this casing out of the way so I don't bend any of the pins accidentally from the screen. So we'll just shift this out of the way while we clean it. Something like that. Now, one thing, since there is stuff on the back of here, you want to be careful not to apply too much pressure to this board while you're cleaning it or servicing it, I guess, because you might snap the bitch. So be careful. See, I'm mad and polite to myself. Gotta use coasters. Making a little pile here. So these are the internals of this thing. It's pretty neat. Shiny side up. This is the key. So what we'll do is, because this has pilot holes in it as well, like little guide holes, so you kind of know where to place it. I'm going to place it on the keys right now, because I was thinking about how I wanted to put this back together, right? So I might want to do it like that in case that when I put the board down, if it shifts over, because I got it upside down it. All right, so let's give this a little bit of a once over. And the good thing is, the minute that we finish this and put it back together, everything's already all set for it to be tested. Oh yeah, that gunk is coming off of there nicely. So remember, not too much pressure when you're doing this. But you do want to try your best to get all that filth off. Again, hopefully hopefully after this thing will be able to work once more. Yeah, oh, I'm feeling this sticky shit right there. These two keys were the ones who took the biggest hit. Alright. So right there, you want to kind of look at it in the light, you know. I'm going to change pads because this is Ixnay on the Onyx Bay type shit. Let's get another one. Got a whole box of these things. And we'll go over this. Oh, yo. Oh my god. Right there is where that fucking really... Whoa. It's like grabbing onto the pad. Yeah, this is where the brunt of it was. Right there. So, again, try to be gentle. So the alcohol will do its work in the same way that it caused, you know, the reason for me doing this in the first place. Alcohol related. So the alcohol does do its job, so to speak. And then I want to, yeah, down here I want to grab it too. Anywhere that stops the pad is most likely where there's some caked up alcohol present. Isn't it weird that I'm getting rid of alcohol with alcohol? Isn't that like an oxymoron or something? Okay, let's go for another pad. But already I'm starting to see it's looking a lot cleaner. So here, I'll show it to you guys. Alright, so you see now, here, let me hold it up for the camera there. So a lot, that gunk and shit, that shiny shit is off of there now. I know it's a little bit hard to see. But just for safe measure, I'm gonna go through it one more time and make sure so I'm going to make sure that it's good, and then we're going to start reassembly. Better safe than sorry, you know. Just let it dry for now, and then we hit it again, and I try to see if there's any spots with that kind of drag on the pad, meaning there's some crusty alcohol, dried alcohol, and in this case soda, so that's sugar. So it looks like it creates a film in between where these pads hit and where that green thing is, you know. So that's most likely what the problem is going to be. Right. So once we take care of this, we're going to take our time and reassemble it. Plug the fucker in, and hopefully this is going to take care of it. So if you have an MK2, I think an MK1 is also with this variety. I think the MK3 is just a little busier around the screen section there. So you might have to take a little bit more care, watch a video or something in regards to taking it apart, because you want to. I think the Maschine Studio is a bit different as well. I think it has a main screen hookup where you would take off the plug before you take this board off of the main body. I'm just letting it dry a little bit, and then we're going to start reassembly. Now, I already see that the one thing that you do want to take care in doing is making sure that plug, or those 3 plugs, go into the board nicely. That's, I think, the hardest part of reassembly, because I bet you if you don't get those in right, the screens won't work. You might do all kinds of funky stuff. Alright, let me make some room here. Now, this is where having the nice bolt piles pays you dividends. You know what I wonder? I wonder if I can put that on. You know what? I'm going to take a chance, guys. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to unscrew these small 3 bolts, and I'm going to see if I can attach the screen section to the boards first, so that I know for a fact that I have all the pins in place. If that's a possibility, it'll be a lot more convenient. And lo and behold, it sure is. So here are the actual screens. And what I was talking about, see those 3 connections? Got 1, 2, and 3. I want to make sure before I start bolting shit to shit that this is in this. Yeah, that was a good idea. That was a good idea. So what we'll do is, now, because the tension from that connector, or from those connectors, will hold it in place, and I can flip it upside down and insert it back. While I'm here, I'm just looking at these connections, because I've had issues before with these screens being a little dim for me. But it doesn't look like they come apart any which way. So it's not exactly a bad thing. Alright, so now slowly, very gently push. Kind of like so. Again, you want to make sure that you didn't bend any of the pins going in. So you want to kind of flip it. See, we got 2 there. We got the 4 there, and we got this whole bunch right here. So now, there's a little hair off there. Now we are in good shape. See, and now it's not, you don't have to worry about lining it up down here, bolting it in first, and then trying to sit this on top of it. No. Now it's already intact, and it would take a bit of force for it to actually come out. So my theory is it shouldn't fall out of there. Now this piece, don't forget, goes around a USB jack. Alright, there's a little cutout there that aligns it. No. Yeah, you kind of want to get it off the ground here. Make sure everything falls in nicely. And give it a little push here and there. Not hard. Like I emphasize, don't push hard. I mean, I know, you know, silicone won't break. It's tough. Yeah, okay. Why experiment with something like that? Now, the reason I do this, kind of brace it up, is so that the pads themselves, if you do that without doing this, the pads will push back up. So, that's why I'm doing this. Now, small ones are going to go into the 3 holes that are holding the screen on. So let's go ahead and do that first. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set them in there. I'm going to start them. But I'm not going to tighten them. I'm going to tighten all the ones, the hold downs first, so that if it happens to, you know, wobble or whatever, these are still loose to where it kind of conforms, you know, or shifts with it until it settles in its place. And then I will tighten these last. Okay, so you got to kind of set them in there. And now remember, anywhere on these golden holes you're going to see, they were nice enough to put little bolt indications, so you know where to put a bolt. So you don't put a bolt like right here. There's no picture of a bolt. Don't put a bolt. So let's go ahead and start doing that. Usually I do like to get any bolt started by hand, because working on cars as a profession, if you've ever cross-threaded a bolt, you know the nightmares that come with that. The drilling, the cursing. So, why go through any of that? And you can just simply take your time and put them in by hand. Then you can run them down, you know. As you already know, they're started properly. There's no snags in it, nothing like that. Remember, there are a couple of more holes than they're supposed to be. So again, only put a bolt in the things that have a little bolt icon next to them. They all do. Wherever a bolt belongs, you're gonna have one there. Well, Chuck, in this case, I'm gonna screw her like her old man left for the month. Alright, I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna savor every turn. Because here we don't want to be in a rush. I want to make sure every bolt goes in the way the good Lord intended it. And Chuck will tell you all about how fun it is to deal with stripped bolts. There's many of us who do work on cars, or anything that involves bolts for that matter, at one point or another have rushed and just put it at the end of a screwdriver, jammed it in, and screwed it, and immediately regretted it when the bolt goes halfway in and just stops. And you already know, like at that point, you already know it's too late. Nothing you're gonna, even if you back the bolt out, you've already cut a new thread path in. And that right there is a shitty feeling. So, take your time. As you paid a lot of money for this thing, you don't want to just go. You don't want to go doing everything that we just did here and then on the last step, you fuck up. You know what I mean? You run them down. Change my screwdriver tip. This is 2. There we go. Now you just want to snug them because I'm under the full assumption that this does not need to be torqued in any way, shape, or form. This is a silicone board. So as soon as the shit stops, so do you. Do not try to torque these, and for fuck's sake, do not use an electric screwdriver. This does not require that kind of torque. If you want, like, if you're desperate to use an electric screwdriver, man, this job is not for you. Okay. You're better off just not getting involved. This is all hand tool type of shit. I'm excited. I want to see what this is, if this is going to work after we're all done here. I mean, my gut tells me it's going to work, but you have to always have that 5% notion that it might have screwed the pooch. So. But I have a good feeling about this repair. Don't forget about those 3 bolts we left loose. So once we're done tightening these, we want to immediately go and tighten those. Almost done. I know this is fucking way too many screws for even my comfort, but it is what it is. You know, the Germans better go overboard. Now, it seems that those 3 little bolts, the bolts themselves, or the screws, whatever, they require a finer screwdriver bit. So do keep that in mind. Okay. All right. Now again, just snug them, because I already ran them down enough. See? Just give them a little snug. There. And that's it. Okay, now. Now we have our other pile of bolts, and don't forget we left a few bolts in the cover, in the clamshell or whatever. So you want to mind those when you put it back. So what I'll do is put this little coaster to retain the keys elevated. Which is not fucking helping. Okay. And go ahead and put the clamshell back on. Let me see if there's any guides or whatever. Alright. Slip the clamshell on. Now what you want to make sure is, or at least I want to make sure, that these bolts are making it into these holes without I'm going to change screwdriver tips. This is too much of a fine tip for this. Needs more of a coarse tip for these. Generally, what I like to do with any bolt that I've left in like a hole or whatever, before I start to tighten it, after, you know, reinserting, I want to back it off. I'm going to back it off all the way. Like so. And then straightly guiding it. We're almost there, guys. Almost there to see if these keys will live again. If it does work, then you'll know exactly what to do. If, God forbid, you or someone else spills liquidus onto an MK2. Check this one real quick. There we go. Now let's turn it around. And I want to do the ones all the way on the bottom here, so we can close up the clamshell. You know what I'll do first? I'm going to run these two middle ones in to kind of get that middle positioned. Most of these are going to line right up because the case was molded, but again, be careful if you feel like a bolt's going in sideways. Back off. Back off and try again. Say like that. There, now it's nice and easy. Good. Get these deep ones taken care of first. See again, when it doesn't want to go nice, just come back off, hit it again. See, now it's going nice. Started good. There. Two more of these deep ones. Then we'll run the 4 on the bottom down, and that will complete the reassembly of this MK2. See, make sure when you run out of bolts, you don't have extra bolt holes, and vice versa. If all the holes are full and you still have bolts left over, that's a stage 1 weight reduction. We call that in the automotive business. That means something is missing from the inside. Yeah. That's why every mechanic has something that they call the bolt drawer, where it's just bolts and nuts you pick up from job to job. And then they just pile up and you have no idea what the hell they're for. But you have them. Alright, the reassembled machine. Now remember, when you're putting these in, there's one way that it goes in, so don't just start smashing these things in there, as if you break those tabs, they're not gonna want to play with you. So take care when you're assembling this shit. Okay, and that completes the reassembly. Now, one thing left to do, spill beer on it. It's time to see if our work was fruitful. See if any of the other buttons work. Now, the ones in question. Alright. So we got one that's not a winner here. This one came back a little bit. Huh? Okay. See, that's the difference. Yeah, see. We might have to go in there later on. Let me see something. Yeah, they're not as strong. Okay. So I think I will go back in there. But they came back from the dead. But they're still not. They're not as strong as they should be. But really having to hit these hard in order for it to respond.
God mode. God mode. God mode. God mode. God mode Studios.
I mean, to a certain extent, but see
Straight out the Brooklyn basement.
the difference in velocity. So something is still not good with the velocity of it, but we're on the right track
God mode Studios.
to actually try to correct it. Like, see, even if I open another kit. Yeah, but it's already obvious that it is still suffering a little bit. Yeah, definitely better than dead. I think I'm going to go back in there and see if I can clean it even better. And I might get like contact spray, like contact cleaner spray, and then see if that makes it any better, you know. And if anything, I'll see if I can get a contact strip like this from maybe Native Instruments, order it from them. We'll shoot from there. But that is kind of the idea. Let's see what we got here. Dark pressure. Let's go with Golden Kingdom, right? Here, this one. I know this kit because I use it a lot. Well, I don't think it's actually the pad. See? See the difference in velocities there. But yeah, that is pretty much, it's a good start. You know what I'm saying? I'm still not happy. I'll say that shit right off the bat. Not happy with the way that it's still not hitting with the velocity that I want, like a light tap. Like here, I can do a light tap. See, it's a light tap. All right. So it's still a little murky, but we got the keys to come back from the dead. So that's already a start. So at least we did some kind of good for this unit, and now we don't have to toss it. See, this one came back a little better. So yeah, that's the story. All right. So I think I'm gonna call it for today, my dear friends. Let me jump over. Let me actually fix this camera. Hello. It's my little YouTube lag. Let me make sure it's actually on point somewhatively. Das Boot. Oh, I see. It's actually more this way. All right, cool. All right, then. Make sure I'm back with this bullshit where it should be. I feel like Brooklyn Bob. Hey, listen. I don't play this shit, all right? Yeah, exactly. I'll have to adjust it back for him again. So the velocities are still off, but it's cool though. Totally cool. All right, so yeah, I could see it being like this is good. But again, when the madman himself gets here again, I'll short camera him up nicely. In fact, I think I might want to take this up a skosh. Look at that. Yes. All right, let me sneak into the other chair here, and yeah, see, that's better. I like that better. I like that better right there. All right, cool. Cool beans, man. So, we did do good work, no matter what, because those keys were absolutely fucking dead. So what I'm going to have to try to do is get my hands on a better electrical cleaning solution, because everything is closed right now. So, unfortunately, I can't get my hands on this stuff right now, and not really that psyched to go and look for it in this whole scenario. But worst comes to worst, I'll shift where to kick in the snare. There we go. Back to where I belong. These I like my spot here. Got quite used to it. it's kind of interesting being on the other side of the spectrum. So here, just to let y'all understand kind of what is going on. See if I take control back with the MK3. All right, same key. See how hard that hits? That right there is the reason that I'm still not happy with that one. But nevertheless, it's better than it was. And we at least had some sort of luck in restoring some of its functionality on those keys. And we'll get more. You know what I'm saying? I'll keep on taking it apart and keep on messing with it. Hopefully I can get replacement parts from Native directly or eBay or all that shit. But yes, my friends, that is a story for this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Check out the beats. GodMode Studios Beat Stars. You know what I'm saying? Right under me here. Over there. Alright, so a lot of the beats that I do on the show do get posted up there for purchase to support the cause of the podcast. And that's the story. You know what I'm saying? Most likely you guys are going to see me tomorrow. And I'm going to try to probably have a beat podcast. I'll probably mess with this machine at work a little bit more, since right now everything's a little bit slow, but yet I'm still essential personnel. So that's where I'm going to mess with it. And see if I can get it any better. Find some contact cleaner, hopefully, and like really clean it off nicely. I might, in fact... It's not a bad idea. In fact, I might actually turn the thing on while I'm, like, right after cleaning it, so before reassembly, to see if I got it, got it right or not. Alright, so that's all I got. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and catch us tomorrow for another one. And as always, motherfucker.